everyone. This is me, Jhazmine, reporting for today's Future Understanding History. Have you ever stopped to think about what history truly means? Many people think it's all about memorizing dates, names, and old events, but history is actually much more than that. It's the story of humankind, our struggles, achievements, ideas, and experiences that shape the world we live in today. History refers to the past of mankind, everything that has happened to people through time. But it's also known as the totality of human experience. That means it doesn't just focus on rulers or wars, it includes how ordinary people live, what they believe in, and how their action influence the future. And here's something very important to remember. History is dynamic, it's not just a collection of facts written in books. As new discoveries are made, of understanding of history also changes. It continues to grow as we uncover new evidence, challenge old ideas, and tell stories that may have been forgotten. Now, why should we care about history? Because it helps us understand the development of human life and society. Through history, we learn how people thought, how they interacted, and how they overcome challenges. In short, history connects the past to the present. Think about it this way. Every tradition we follow, every system we live by, and every value we hold dear has roots in history. By studying it, we gain insight into how and why the world works the way it does today.
Why is history important? History helps reporters explain today's news. Many problems we see now started long ago. For example, learning about colonialism helps us understand why some countries still have conflicts today. Learning from mistakes. Journalists look at past failures like economic crashes or environmental problems to show what went wrong. This helps government and people avoid making the same mistakes again. Shaping identity and culture. History also shows who we are. New stories about traditions, celebrations, or old places helps people understand their culture and where they came from. Developing critical thinking. Studying history teaches us to check facts, notice bias, and think carefully. These skills helps us understand news better and make smart decisions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we take closer at history not merely as a record of past events, but as a story of humankind itself. 1950 explained that it reflects the collective experiences of humanity, helping us understand how societies grow and change. While Carl 1961 reminds us that history is more than a list of facts. It is an interpretation as historians analyze and give meaning to events. The analyst historians like Mark Bloch, 1950, and Ferdinand Brodel, 1970, showed that history is about everyday people's social structures and long-term forces like geography. Burke argues that history connects to social theory because it examines human behavior over time. White, 1973, Michael Rapp-Charland, 1995, and Dipes Chakrabarty, 2000, highlights that history is shaped by narrative, power, and cultural perspective, reminding us that the way we remember the past depends on who tells the story. Overall, history is both the shared part of humankind and the diverse experiences that make up our collective journey.
These are the types of historical writing. First is narrative history. Narrative history tells the story of past events in a chronological order. It focuses on what happened, when, and how. It aims to present history as a story, showing causes, effects, and human experiences. A book like The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire or a documentary about World War II that explains the events step by step is an example of narrative history. It describes historical events in a sequence to show how one event led to another. Second is didactic history. Didactic history is about how history is taught and learned. It focuses on the methods, materials, and approaches used to help people understand and interpret the past. A teacher using timelines, films, and debates in class to help students understand the Philippine Revolution is practicing didactic history. It's about how historical knowledge is delivered to learners. And lastly, genetic history. Genetic history explains how things develop or evolve over time. It links the past, present, and future by showing the process of change and development. This type of history looks at how and why things came to be. A study tracing the evolution of democracy from ancient Greece to modern governments is an example of genetic history. It shows how political systems gradually develop over centuries.
Good day everyone, this is Julia and Braza, your reporters. Why do we need to study history? Studying history is essential because it provides us the tools to understand the world and the people around us. One of the most important benefits of studying history is ability to assess evidence. History is not just a collection, a story about the past. It is an analysis of events, documents, and sources. When we study history, we learn how to evaluate the reliability and credibility of information. These skills allow us to differentiate between facts and opinions, identify bias, and make informed judgment. By critically examining historical evidence, we also develop the ability to think analytically, which is valuable not only in academics but in everyday decision making. Another reason why history is important that it helps us to understand societies through history. We can see how different cultures develop and why they differ from one another. We learn how tradition, belief, and social norms are formed and passed down through generations. History also explains the rise and fall of nations. Social factors influence the growth and decline of societies. By understanding the past, we gain insight into the present, which help us navigate cultural diversity and interact more meaningfully with people from different backgrounds. Lastly, studying history fosters moral observation. History allows us to examine human behavior, both good and bad, and reflects on its consequence. By learning about past mistakes such as wars, injustice, or oppression, we can develop empathy and deeper appreciation for human values like justice, fairness, and compassion. History also inspires us to make better choices in our lives, using the lesson of the past to guide our ethical and moral decisions. In this way, history is not only a record of what has happened, but also a guide for how we should act in the present and future.
Thank you, Ms. Braza. This is Ronnie B. Santos Jr. For now, I report to you the conclusion of understanding the study of history. History is not just the past in the dynamic history of humankind that provides the essential context for our present reality and serves as a critical guide for shaping our future. By studying the collective experiences and development of societies over time, we gain insight into the origins of our institutions, values, and challenges. History encourages critical thinking by requiring us to analyze evidence, understand cause and effect, and interpret events from multiple perspectives, which are vital skills for informed decision-making. Learning from the past success and failures allowed us to recognize recurring patterns in human behavior and society, helping us avoid repeating mistakes and anticipate future trends. Ultimately, history is a living laboratory of human experiences that connects us to our roots and equips us with the wisdom necessary to build a more purposeful and empathetic future. Studying history is an essential practice that equips us with the historical consciousness needed to navigate the complexities of the present and to make informed decisions for the future. It is the story of us, and by understanding it, become to better understand ourselves